Hey guys, backyard scrapping here. Today we are actually going to be running a little test. I've got some flat pack IC chips here. Mostly, there's a couple larger ones, but most of them are, this size, little bitty guys. And anyway, there's 250 grams here, so we're just gonna we're gonna take them outside and we are gonna actually wet ash them, which I don't think you guys have seen me do this before, but this is kind of a dangerous procedure, so you want to make sure you have your gloves and a respirator and all that on. And it's just kind of nasty, sulfuric acid. I really don't like messing with it, but there's some things you have to do, you just can't avoid it. So anyway, when we get outside and get set up, I will get right back with you. Okay guys, we are outside. As you can see, I've got my respirator. I got the heavy duty gloves because sulfuric acid is nasty. I'm actually going to try and do this in this 2,000 milliliter beaker. I'm going to have to stay with it and keep an eye on it because this will boil over if I'm not careful. And we do not want that to happen. So, but what I'm going to do is see how these cover the bottom. I should be able to do it in here because this is really going to rise up, but I'll just have to watch my temperature and keep an eye on things. 250 grams. I mean, normally I would do this in stainless steel, but I'm not going to break out a big stainless steel pot and everything just to do this little batch of stuff. So we'll get back at you in just a minute. I'm going to go get some nitric, or not nitric, but sulfuric acid, and we're going to get this started. Alrighty guys, we've got our pan out here, our catch pan, and we have our burner. I'm actually going to get this all set up over here, and we're going to go ahead and add our acid. If we need some more extra heat other than what we've got our burner there. So we're going to go ahead and get rolling. And we're just going to do this small batch. I may end up doing it a couple of times because I don't want to have too much acid in there at once and have a boil over. And actually what I'm going to do now, we're already getting a little bit of a reaction. I am actually just going to move this camera back away, and every once in a while we'll take a shot of it. But always remember, and when this gets to fuming good, don't forget to put your respirator on. I know you guys haven't seen me or heard me talk through a respirator yet, but you probably will sometime today. And we'll get back at you shortly. Okay guys, let me see about how long we are into this. We are starting to foam up, in case you can't see that in there, but definitely foaming up. It's been about an hour. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on it right now because it's growing pretty quick. So let me get my mask on and stuff so I can go out there with it, and we'll get back at you in just a bit. Okay guys, I'm actually going to go out here and just pop that lid off and give that a quick little stir. Check it out. I'm sorry if you can't hear me very well, but I am definitely wearing my mask for this. Okay, so we did knock it down a little bit, about halfway down.
And I'm just going to let it do its thing, and we'll get back at you in a little while. Okay guys, as you can see, our process is still going on. We're a couple hours in, everything's starting to slow down a little bit, but we are just going to let it go until it stops. So just checking in with you. We'll get back at you in a bit. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you it's pretty much stopped right there at that level. So we are going to go ahead and let it cool off, and then we're going to start to rinse everything and see what we ended up with out of that 250 grams. I may have to hit it again, I'm not sure, because they were the big thick chips, so we'll just have to see what happens. I got away from it, still stinks a little, and we'll get back at you in a bit. Okay guys, so I got these rinsed and cleaned, and let me get some things out I want to show you real quick. This is actually, I'm going to call this a fail, but I'm only going to call it a fail because it's the first time I've done these big, thick, heavy guys. So I want to get some stuff out and show you. Okay, most of the time when you do wet ashing, or when I do wet ashing, it is from the BGA tops, which I haven't done it and showed you guys yet, but IC chips or EEPROM looking IC chips and things like that, normally I burn them and then process the ash. Or this is actually the bottoms of these BGA chips, like a graphics card or something along those lines. But anyway, this is the bottoms. There's not a whole lot of gold in those, even though they look like it, but there's quite a bit of gold in these, in the top parts. But they're very thin. So I don't know if you can see how thin that is, but it's pretty thin. Now also, I have done regular flat packs with this wet ashing process. But again, I've only done the thin ones. See, they're about the same thickness. So what I was trying this time is I actually did the thick ones. And I'm calling this a fail simply because I'm cheap. I've already done this process. I've already run them twice. Actually 3 times, because I added some sulfuric acid to the second batch again. And this burned up chip is actually still twice as thick as this. So yes, if I was to continue, you know, adding acid to these and adding acid to these and adding acid to these, they would eventually get down. In fact, I'll show you, I'm going to do a close-up video and show you what you want them down to and show you the gold wires. But I would have to keep adding acid to them. And these are the ones I actually did, and like I said, they are 3 to 4 times as thick as the ones I normally do. So it's not that it's a true fail, it's a fact that I had to buy my sulfuric acid by the quart this time instead of by the 5 or 65 gallon pail. So I actually had to pay the quart price, which is way too expensive to keep having to add for this little bit. You know, this was 250 grams to start with. I mean, I was 2 days into it, and still the majority of these are still not showing the chip in the center. So it's just not worth it to do it that way. These thick ones, I mean, I'm going to just stick to doing them like I do the regular IC chips, and that's burning them. Now the thin ones, or the BGA tops, yes, you can do them this way, even if you have to buy the acid by the quart, because usually the first time they're done. But these big thick guys, I mean, I haven't even got to the to the silicon dye on hardly any of these. Just a couple have made it through. That's not actually the silicon dye, that's the back. But even these little ones, I mean, they were just too thick. So here we actually got one, and I'll show you a couple in here. But here we actually have one that actually made it all the way down to the silicon die. But I mean, it's one out of, you know, or two out of all this batch. So anyhow, like I said, I'll show you a close-up of what we're looking for in the gold wires. These I'm going to just save till the next time when I'm going to burn some stuff. And I think our next wet ashing video will be something that's supposed to work right, which is, we'll probably do one on these VGA tops, but I want to get a lot more of them before. I've only got about 220 grams there, and I'd like to have at least a half a kilo. So anyway, guys, we'll get back at you in just a bit. Like I said, I'll show you a close-up and of what we're looking for, what we should have gotten, but we didn't. So we'll get back at you in just a second. These are some that did break down pretty good, but if you can see, right there, see this right here? That's little bitty gold wires. Let's see if I can get this thing. We're getting a lot of reflection off of that silicon die, but you can see that right there in that top left corner. See that gold bond wire? That's what we're after. Same thing here. You see those little yellow, tiny little gold bond wires? Now those are actually copper. It's hard to tell here, but they're actually copper. So that's what we don't want. But what happened here is this stuff just was too thick, and this is how most everything still looks. So it did start to break down. You can see these did start to break down, but it's just costing me too much in acid, and they are, you know, still a whole lot has to go to get down to this silicon die like you see right here on this one. But right there is some copper, but if you look in between each of the coppers, and then right there, you can see right there, that's a gold bond wire. That's what we're after when we're doing this. So anyway, I figured I would let you know that. Let me stop this. Okay guys, so you saw our close-up. You know, next time what we're going to do is we're actually going to do either these thin flat packs, or we'll do the BGA tops with the wet ashing. The thicker stuff we're going to save for pyrolyzation or burning or whatever you want to call it, because it just takes too much acid to do it that way. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching, and we will get back at you in the next video. So have a good one, everybody.